Distribution matters, and I can show you how to 5x your distribution on today's episode. Let's go. Hey friend, Chris here, and for today's Spotlight series, this is huge. You don't want to miss this. If you love leverage, if you love doing one thing and then it giving you more reach and more attention with the same amount of effort, this is the conversation for you, because today we get to talk to the queen of distribution, who you're about to meet. She actually started her entrepreneurial journey when she was 10. Now, she got cut off from allowance when she was 8, apparently, but with 10, the gears started turning, the dollars started rolling in, and that's why we're going to talk about business. We're going to talk about entrepreneurship. We're going to talk about leverage in terms of media and distribution, which is why we got to talk to Tigo today. Tigo, how's it going?
What's happening, Chris? I'm so glad to be here. What's going on?
Always some fun stuff. Never a dull moment over here. I know it's the same for you. And this is something I really want our audience to hear right away about Tigo. Tigo was introduced to me by Sean. They met up and we got to come on her show, which was fantastic. You're just so much fun. People just need to know, like, you're a ton of fun, and you've been doing this forever and you know exactly what you're talking about. That's it.
Okay. So, well, that was a fun interview. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for next. So I would love for everyone else to get to experience that as well. Since I threw the 10-year-old thing out there and we started going down that direction, we got to know, what was your first business?
Literally, my first business was I kind of turned into a loan shark when I was like 14, but that's a different story. I'm going to go back to 8 and we'll come forward real quick. And when I was 8 years old for my 8th birthday, my father comes home and he always gave me a bike for Christmas or for my birthday. Always. Yeah. Christmas, birthday, bike, one or the other. And he came in the door. My dad, was really easy to understand. If he was in a good mood, I was kid. If I was in trouble, he called me by my full name. And when he was just busy and he needed me to like hand him a screwdriver or something, it was, hey, you. It was really simple. And he came in the door and he said, hey, kid, I got great news for you for your birthday. So I'm looking for the new bike. And he says, I'm cutting off your allowance. And I thought, wow, Dad, can't wait for 9. What the heck are you okay? And he says, and you're getting a job. And he said, you're going to have a paper route. Basically made no sense because at 8 years old, you couldn't have a paper route. Well, he technically had the paper route, but he wanted me to do the work, right? So at 8 years old, I can't even cross the street by myself. So this is going to be the smallest paper route in the world. And his idea was that he was going to drive behind me and let me do this paper route. Well, that lasted all of 2 weeks. And he said, that's not going to work. And then he started paying me to do chores. He got a big piece of like brown wrapping paper that you get at the meat market. You're too young to understand that. And he started making a list of chores. And he's like, if you want $5 on Friday, this is what you got to do. And I actually had to turn in invoices because he got paid on Monday. So I turned them in on Friday. I got paid on Monday. Yeah, it was quite interesting. And when I was 10 years old, I figured out other people would pay me to do chores too. So I was raking leaves and babysitting and doing all that kind of stuff. And then I started getting jobs for other people, for people I knew in the neighborhood. And then later on, people I knew in school. And so I kind of became a foreman when I was 10 years old. How about that?
I like it. So you had a business. You didn't have a job at 10. You had a business at 10.
Yeah, I had a business at 10. Yeah, I had a business at 10. I put up little crayon drawings. You see the ugly house signs all over town? We buy your ugly house. I did that. I didn't buy houses. I just said, we'll do your ugly chores kind of a thing. And
we'll do your ugly chores.
Kind of a thing. I didn't say ugly, but yeah, they called or they saw me in the street and said, yo, I need my lawn raked. Okay. And that's how it all started.
You had your opt-in page. And you started getting some leads, and but that's what I love about your story, and that's what I love about business is it's a way of thinking, it's a skill. And I know we've talked about this, and anyone that's listened to me for any amount of time, knows that my 4 and 3-year-old, they're running their business. And by the way, Tigo, update, we'll talk about this later, but we got a new business model, and I think you're
not the giant ring. Not.
Oh, the keychains. Yep. So
Yeah.
that was the first one, and then
Yeah.
we've been rocking Feel Good Pizza, and so they're making $30 a month. They work one afternoon a month, and they got their their route and everything right. They make the dough and all the stuff. 55% profit, 45% food cost. We've done the spread, all the things right. Okay, we got a better one now. Okay,
Okay.
you can
Okay.
tell
Okay.
the entrepreneurial. I know you and I are like both the serial entrepreneur, right? But the
Yeah.
point is for you at 10
Yeah.
or if it's my kids bring in the mix, good business is so simple that kids get it.
Yeah.
And I think as us, as watching this and some of the things that we're going to stay tuned, keep watching, listening, because what we're going to get into is going to give you more of these principles, more of this leverage for your business immediately. And there's two really specific things I know you have for us to talk about. They'll be exciting. But when we keep it simple, we're able to actually go faster and have more fun, and not be drowning in the traps. I don't know what else
Yeah.
to call them.
Really.
So
Really.
let's talk about this. That's where you started. Let's talk about how that started, how you got into media, and how that how you transformed in that journey into what I like. This isn't self-proclaimed. This is Chris proclaimed queen of distribution. I don't know, maybe someone else has called you that too, but that's what I like to
Nope,
call her.
you're the first, and I'll have to sit
Yes.
here and think about that one. But okay, I'll take it.
Yeah. So if you could build that bridge for us today between, your entrepreneurialism and how you got into media.
Well, literally back in 2003, so it's been almost 20 years. 18 years ago, we came up with an idea for a digital magazine, and we created a magazine called BEM, Black Insight Magazine. It reached over 50 countries. We got 1.8 million subscribers. It was fun.
Wow.
It was a lot of fun. And it was before, YouTube had really taken off and Google and all that kind of stuff. So people would literally call me and say, if I watch this video inside this digital magazine, is it going to blow up my computer? Because they had never seen anything like that. And I'm like, no, it won't blow up your computer, honey. But we had concerts, we had the Whispers in there, we had a fashion show, we had a soap opera that literally ran out of money on a cliffhanger. The guy at the end of season 1 pushed somebody off a cliff for, actual content, off the cliff, ran out of money, and people for years called me and said, so what happened next? And I'm like, he ran out of money. You'll just figure it out. Whatever you wanted to happen, that's what happened,
Did he do this? Yep.
So years ago, back then, when BEM was just on the rise, I didn't know I was a producer. I didn't know I was in media. I mean, I literally hired my production crew from the Yellow Pages, and I didn't exactly go by reference, or there was no, lead capture pages and all that stuff back then. I called around, and whoever gave me the best rate is who I hired. And they ended up he was an undercover detective. So this was his side gig. He knew about this much more about media than I did. And when we did our first big interview, I convinced New York. Everybody knows I'm in Vegas. I convinced New York casino to give me, I asked for a little room. They literally gave me a penthouse and let us do these initial interviews. And the first person in our seat was a woman named Mother Love. And Mother Love had her own national talk show back then. She was a worldwide known comedian, just funny lady. And she sat on the set with our host, Amy Jo Greer, and she said, wait a minute, honey, who's the producer? And he raised his hand. There's only 2 of us. She's like, well, then who's the director? I'm like, well, there's only 2 of us, so that must be me. And she said, well, where's the monitors? I'm like, monitors? I didn't know you could sing. And she said, oh, Lord, what am I doing here? She said, where are the monitors so you can see your shot that you're taking with me? And I opened the little door on the camera and turned it around and said, look, it comes with one. We don't need TVs. And she said, Lord, help me. And she sat in that chair and directed us. She said, honey, move this light down here, move this light over here, bring this camera closer. Okay, I'm gonna need you to move this drape back here. Now, bring this camera down. And she directed from her seat. And that's how we started our first show. Well, fast forward to Christmas that year, I'm in a cocktail party. And if you know me at all, you know I don't do cocktail parties. I'm not a small talk, how was your afternoon? That's not me. So little mini hot dogs wrapped in something. No. So this lady comes over and says, what do you do? I, of course, gave the answer I always gave. Nothing. I was dragged here. She's like, no, really, what do you do? So I explained it to her. She said, wait right here. And she ran and got this woman who was literally trying to eat and drug her across the room and stood her in front of me and said, tell her what you do. And I went, okay. And this person ended up being Anna Maria Davis. She did Fools Rush In with Matthew Perry and Selma Hayek. She's the only movie she's a producer, only movie to be produced in Las Vegas in Nevada that literally shut down Hoover Dam to film. If you take the tour, you see Fools Rush In on a big giant poster on the tour at Hoover Dam. It's the only movie to literally, everything else you've seen at Hoover Dam was done with a model. Fools Rush In was actually done on Hoover Dam. And when I explained what I did, she said, honey, you're a producer. And I said, no, I'm a computer geek that just so happens to have a digital magazine. She said, you're a producer and I'm going to prove it to you. You're going to LA with me next week. And for almost a year, she took me back and forth to LA and treated me like Pavlov's dog, sat me on sets and said, sit, stay. And I got to watch some of the most amazing things happen. She introduced me to screenwriters and producers. She took me to people's houses that I watched them in major films. And she's walking in going, oh, yeah, that's Theresa. I'm like, do you know who that is? Oh, my God. And that's how I learned production. Anna Maria took me through the paces. And then I met great people like George Carson, who taught me radio.
Wow.
Everything I can think of. Lillian McMorris, who took me under her wing here in Las Vegas. She was the local Oprah for Las Vegas. And literally any crazy idea I came up with, I could call Lillian and she'd say, well, let's figure it out and see how we can do it. She taught me everything on this side of the camera for talk shows. I've just been blessed to have really cool people in my life. So that's the long story short, short story long of how I got in media.
You got into media. I appreciate you sharing. Why do you think? Do you ever ask her why do you think she originally took you in and took you to Hollywood and spent all that time with you?
Well, for Anna Maria, I can tell you she loves the business of movies. She loves the business of Hollywood. That is her family's business. Her son is in this business. Her daughters are. Her ex-husband is. This is her family business. And she loves helping women, especially on the behind the camera, behind the scenes, because when she started, there wasn't a lot of women doing that. So when she found someone who really wanted to learn, she said, let's go. Let me show you. And she's still a part of our family. We got projects coming up. It's like, she's still around. We're still doing our thing, but she loves it. That's all I can tell you. Lillian probably thought I was crazy because when she met me the first time, I sat there with a fork in my hand at lunch that she was paying for with my mouth open and people coming up and asking her for autographs. And I'm going, I'm sitting here with her. Why am I sitting here with her? I don't know what I'm doing here. And she just kind of talked to me and said, I see something in you. It may be crazy, but we're going to figure it out. So like I said, I was blessed enough, to have really great people like George Carson. I mean, I went there to do a radio interview that they had to drag me in from the hallway to do. My first radio interview, literally, Lillian was my host and I was shaking my head at radio and she went, honey, they can't see you. You got to talk. Oh, so there's an hour of me going, yes, ma'am. That's my first radio interview. And then I told George that I want to learn radio. And he said, he's in the Radio Broadcasters Hall of Fame. And he said, I'll teach you. And I'm like, I can't afford to pay you. And he said, I do websites, right? I said, yeah. He was like, okay, you take care of my websites. I'll take care of teaching you how to do radio. We worked together for 3 years. Trust me. Wow. I could have built YouTube in that 3 years. He was way, way ahead of me and taught me so much for the little bit of work that I did for him. So like I said, I was blessed to have the right people in my corner.
Finding the right people is huge. It's huge to learn, to grow, just in life in general. So yeah, that's awesome. Speaking of the right people, Corey, just a shout out to Corey. Shout out to Namita for hanging out with us here today. Everyone else listening, appreciate you guys being here, hanging out with us.
What's happening, Corey?
So, let's talk about let's bring it to present. And now you
All
have
right.
these skills, you have all this background. I just wanted people to feel like what's driving some of the new cool projects that you're working on right now. I know Pod Nation's one of them. Can you share with everyone what you've been working on with Pod Nation?
PodNation.tv has been coming for over 2 years. It originally started with my buddy George Carson. He went through some medical issues and he was off the air. And I went and chased him down because I hadn't heard from him. And I said, "What the hell are you doing?" And he said, "Oh, I'm just sitting here." And I'm like, "Get your butt over to the studio." So he came over, we talked about it, and it originally started as a talk show with George Carson interviewing people that were doing podcasts. That's why it's called Pod Nation, because he was interviewing people that were doing podcasts all over the world. And, things came up. He had another medical issue and he was like, "You know what? I need to take a little break." We got to talking about it just before Christmas last year during all the COVID stuff. And I said, "You know what?" And he said, "Bring it back. Let's see what we can do." So I brought it back as a network, not just a talk show, but it is an actual network. It's called PodNation.tv. And we're bringing 1,000 podcasts, video podcasts. If you're not video, okay, become video. It's a good idea because people want to see you. And don't tell me you don't have a face for video. I'm 57 sitting here. I want to hear it. Get on a video camera. We're bringing 1,000 shows together under one roof that we're putting on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, reaching places in the world that I probably didn't even learn existed in Chicago Public School to try to give them more exposure. So PodNation.tv, that's what we're doing.
And a huge thing to highlight there, you said Roku?
Yeah.
You said Amazon Fire?
Yeah.
And you said Apple TV?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the trends of where attention is shifting to, meaning from cable and onto these different apps is tremendous. There's I forget who I was talking to. Someone said I think it was Roku. I was talking to an Australian. He runs a software company, and he started doing these interviews on Roku, and he's like, "I had no idea how many people watch business interviews on Roku."
Over 50 million subscribers on Roku alone.
What's so powerful is even the content that you and I are doing right now, with your help, this content will be redistributed on these other channels that are accessing, which is kind of where, like, the queen of distribution, right? Because I know that's, you got a lot in your background, different, criteria and accolades. But when I'm meeting Tigo, she's like, "Hey, so I can get this in front of like hundreds of thousands of millions of more eyeballs." I'm like, "Huh?" How? And that's one. I mean, there's multiple things here, but I want our listeners or viewers, fellow entrepreneurs, that kind of rhymes, goes well, to hear that though, because hey,
Chris just turned into a hip hop artist just right there. I just want people to notice he just rhymed. I just want to know that
it happened here. It happened
right here. When you see him on stage in Vegas, you know it happened here. Okay, go ahead.
He's a one-hit wonder, but we got to work in like an accidental one-hit wonder. So anyway, all right. So this all said, this is what I want other entrepreneurs and business owners out there. This is a great resource. This is a great strategy that's really helpful that you can add into your SOPs, your standard operating procedures, to get some extra distribution. So Pod Nation is kicking off. It's growing quickly. Any fun updates that you'd like to share with Pod Nation, or what's in the pipeline, what's coming?
Oh, yeah. I mean, right now it's on Roku. It's there. We've got the hub up. And what the hub does is we are literally transcribing and closed captioning every episode of every show that's on Pod Nation. And the point of doing that, not just to reach all, subscribers and friends and family and all of that, but when Google spiders, when search engine spiders come across videos, it keeps going. And you have a half hour, 20 minutes, an hour of content that could be thousands and thousands of words that the spiders never see. They only read the keywords that you put in and what little description you give, and you don't get that kind of, response. But if you're on our hub, we're transcribing and closed captioning every episode. So when the spider comes across the hub, The spider goes data, 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 and is reading all of the data of every word that's in every episode. That's one.
What?
Two,
that's cool.
We're searching through every episode. So you can actually go to our hub and you can type in Chris if you want to. And wherever the word Chris was spoken on any episode of any show on Pod Nation, it's going to queue it up. Not just queue up the text of it, but actually highlight the word Chris. And when you click it, it'll cue the video up 10 seconds before the word is spoken. So that means no more videos and episodes left behind. I personally have 150 plus episodes with Expert Talk. Chris, I don't know how many episodes you have, but I know you have way more than 50 episodes of what you're doing with the Spotlight. And it's like when you get that far away from the start, people don't go back there because they don't want to go search through all that. Now they can
the
just
consumer
search, for the consumer. So now they can come and search all of the content. They can come in if they're looking for real estate advice from real estate experts, of which we got Jennifer Hammond. Bryce McKinley is talking about coming in. Jennifer Hammond's already there. You know, it's like you'll be able to just come in and type in wholesale real estate, buy ugly houses. And if it was spoken on any episode, it's queuing up. So that means that content that is valuable is not lost anymore. It's actually easily accessible. So that's what we're doing.
This is huge. Okay, so for everyone listening, like YouTube, it's how-to central. How to do this, how to do that. Keyword rich. So as business owners, entrepreneurs, as marketers, we're trying to find those right keywords that the audience is going to YouTube and typing in order to find the thing. This is even smarter. You don't have, it's not like, oh, this is the exact problem I'm trying to solve. It's like type in a word, type in real estate, and it'll search.
I typed in the other day, and it was about 11,000 does. So
there's a lot of those going on.
But I mean, it's like with YouTube, you're skating, using an old story, you're skating where the puck usually goes. If you're playing if you're playing hockey, if you're doing YouTube, you're skating, and we're not trying to be a competition. We're trying to be the little cherry, that with every other platform that you're on. But you're skating where the puck usually goes. Usually people type in hockey. Usually people type in certain players, blah, blah, blah. So you put those in your keywords. But then see, on Monday night, Billy got slammed into the net and then came across and scored in the next 5 seconds. And you don't have Billy in your keywords, but you did have Billy on your show 2 months ago. And when they type in his name, guess whose show is coming up on Pod Nation? We're not skating to where the puck usually goes. We're skating with you and going where the puck takes you.
That's pro status right there.
That's what it's about. That's what it was about. Can I just blow your mind a little bit with some of the statistics I found recently? Blew my mind about OTT.
Yup.
Okay. So for you guys that you don't know, when you're talking about Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, okay, now Android TV, they had to jump into the mix. Android TV.
Oh, okay.
Okay. When you hear the letters OTT, you go, what the heck are they talking about? Well, before, it used to be on top television. That's what it means. The little boxes you put on top of your TVs. So that's what Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, Android TV, they're categorized as OTT streaming networks. Let me explain something to you. OTT is going to hit over $1.039 trillion with a T in revenue by 2027. And it's still in the 100 billion level right now, about 129 billion. So you do the math. Right now, today, there are 340 million active OTT subscriptions in America alone. The only problem with that is there's only 330,000 American citizens. So that means there's more people subscribing to more different apps than there are people living in our country.
That's some interesting stats. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a little bit nuts. And people say, oh, well, I don't want to get involved with television. I don't want to get involved with television. Everybody's cutting the cable. What you're not understanding is everybody's cutting the cable. Yeah, they are. They're not cutting the TVs. More television sold in the last 6 months than in the last 2 years.
Well, that's a power. So I love trends. I love patterns. I love habits.
Televisions are getting smarter. So people are going and getting their 60-inch TVs. They don't want to sit. I'm 57 years old. I don't want to watch a game on this. Okay. They're going to get their big TVs. They're just not signing up for the cable networks. They're signing up for the OTT networks. Disney, when they came out with, and Disney Plus is OTT, by the way, Discovery Plus OTT, Paramount Plus OTT. Okay. When Disney came out with their OTT platform, they were planning on hitting the 900 million mark in 3 years. They hit it in 4.5 months.
That's crazy. I was going to say that's going to happen faster.
4.5 months. I don't know about them, but if I was a Disney owner, I would be sitting around going, do we really have to open the parks again? Because we got 12 people in Billy and we're making, $1 billion a month here with the OTT thing going on. It is very interesting.
The powerful stats for business owners, entrepreneurs, marketers. Our currency is attention.
Yeah.
And what the trends that you just indicated are saying very boldly, also italicized and underlined and highlighted, is people spend a lot of time watching TV. They spend a lot of time consuming. And so, yes, they're doing it from a mobile perspective, but the TV situation is not slowing down per flat screen or just TV purchases. Those TV sales are up, meaning people are buying them and because they want them, they're spending time looking at them. And OTT, the subscription, Disney Plus, Hulu, Netflix, Paramount, Stars, HBO, Roku, Amazon Prime, all the attention is shifting to those platforms. And what's interesting for this conversation for other business owners, marketers, sales professionals is, hey, there's a way we can get distribution on those.
Exactly.
If we're trying to buy, airtime on NBC, ESPN, or wherever else, it's going to cost us a pretty penny.
Yeah, and most likely you won't even get past the screening because, they've got thousands of people, bidding for that spot. So you may not even get past the screening. And you got to, go ahead.
No, I'm tracking with you. I'm getting excited as I even apply more of my brain in this space. There's money to be made in the transition.
300%. I can look it up, but I think advertising on OTT platforms was up 300% in the last quarter. I have to look it up. I know it wasn't less than 300. It might have been more, but yeah, a little bit.
So, and when Facebook started doing ads, when Google started doing ads, there was this gold rush, right? Because, I could get attention for cheaper. And the platforms are like, yeah, you can. Tell your friends. Everyone come this way. And then eventually it's like, well, the price of that real estate, that attention is going up. And then it shifts, right? So the way with OTT, it's a spot that I felt was so powerful for our viewers today because I certainly wasn't thinking about it at all. So but there's huge market trends. And us littler guys, SMB, small and mid-sized business, there's definitely a pocket there where we can grab a lot of attention. Now, if you are a real person solving a real problem, for a real market, this is a great platform. When we're doing content like this, you watching, listening are probably doing some type of content like this already. Find Tigo, blow Tigo up.
Well, let's not blow me up. Yes.
Well, communication.
Chris, man.
Create a show. And what'd you say?
I said you never know with Chris. You have to kind of get out there. It's okay.
That's true. I gotta be more literal. No metaphors here. So one practical thing you could talk to Tigo about is Pod Nation. Really cool site. Click the play button here. Watch the video you have. You can see other shows that you can search. They're all transcribed. See that. Hey, there you go. We got some Chris and Sean on there.
I know that face.
That looks familiar. Right on. So,
yeah,
and
that's
hey,
podnation.tv. You know, go check it out. It's a lot of fun. But I mean, there's so many opportunities. And for me, when somebody asks me where can they find my show, I challenge them to tell me where they can't find it. Where can't you find it? You know, I don't
that's
want to
cool.
be dependent on one particular platform over another, you know,
Yeah.
because I don't own those platforms.
Right.
And if they decide, you know, in a whim that they're not going to do XYZ anymore, or they're going to change the algorithm or whatever, I've known, and I know you've probably known a few too, that have lost empires because an algorithm changed and they went from generating $1 million a day to, you know, $10 and they don't know what happened. And it's like, if you're on multiple platforms, you know, yeah, it's OTT, you're talking about television, but you can watch that OTT channel on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer, so you're not just talking about sitting in your living room. But then on top of that, being able to tell your clients and your friends and family, you know, oh, where can I see your podcast thing that you do, honey? And you go, oh, it's on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, or Apple TV, Android TV. Oh, and you can go search through my entire library on the hub.
Yeah.
It kind of gets their attention.
I might even just start with, hey, where do you watch? Where do you watch and listen to stuff? Oh, there.
Yeah.
Go there.
Go there. Go there. Because everything that I do with my show, I also, you know, put it on audio platforms as well. We're on iHeart. We're on Pandora. We are on as many platforms as we can because we want to go to where the people are. You know, skate where the puck is going. That's where we want to go, you know? So people are still doing their audio as they're driving to work. Now that they have to go back and drive to work, you know, they're still doing it when they're running or whatever. We want them to be plugging in. But if they're sitting down and they're watching, we also want to be on every platform that we can possibly think of for them to sit down and watch.
See, and when I hear you say those things, Tigo, all I think is massive distribution. You're the distribution queen. So, hey, you make it, I'll deliver it. So what's that? You'll take that?
I'll take that. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. I just hope people understand that media doesn't sleep. That's what I want people to know, that media does not sleep. You want to double your time? You want to triple your time? We're doing this video now. People may be watching this in 2028. You know, it does not sleep. Hopefully in 2028, I'm sitting on an island eating, you know, having my favorite food and drinking a wonderful cold drink. But y'all are watching it. That's all that matters. It doesn't sleep.
Doesn't sleep. I love it. Well, hey, for everyone leaning into this and having, we'll call it the OTT epiphany, and you want more distribution for what you're already doing, where's the best place to reach out to you and make that happen?
Podnation.tv is the best place to check out Podnation. And of course, my own personal website where you can check me out. And, you know, if you want me to be on your show or just come and hang out with me or come be on my show is tigo.fm, TGO.fm. So podnation.tv for the OTT network stuff. And then me, Tigo.fm, TGO.fm.